All right, let's talk about Chase Young. Chase Young, we got to see Chase Young back in this game, and I thought he had a good game. I really did. Interestingly enough, he was the second highest graded defender for Washington in this game. So, according to PFF grades, which is certainly optimistic, I am kind of a believer in, I don't think Chase Young is a bad player. I think he just struggles to stay on the field. That's kind of his biggest issue, but he showed some real flashes in this game, and let's talk about what he was able to do, starting off with a run defense play. So it's going to be the left tackle for Denver. That's who's going to be blocking him right off the bat. Right when this play begins, it works okay for Denver. Like, Chase Young isn't in a, awful position or a great position right here. But what Young does is he's going to keep his eyes downfield and pay attention to where the running back is. At the end of the day, the goal isn't to defend a patch of grass, it's to tackle the running back. And while usually the best way to do that is to defend your patch of grass, still make sure you're paying attention to where the running back is, which is exactly what Young is doing. When the back runs in that direction, Young is able to get off that block and be able to make a quick tackle. Again, people always love to talk about pass rush when it comes to edge rusher, but I think run defense is just as important, and I think Chase Young is showing on a play like this, how impactful he can be when he's out there at being able to stop the run and do his job, which I think he did a very good job of in this game. But okay, we can talk about some pass rush because, that's the exciting stuff. That's the stuff we're here to talk about. He had a lot of near misses in this game, I thought. I definitely felt like if, guys weren't getting open quite as quickly in this one, or maybe sometimes they weren't even getting open and Wilson was just making throws quickly. But if Wilson was holding on to the ball a little bit longer in this game, I do think Young could have had a much better stat line, even if his advanced stats were all very good. So going to be going up one-on-one against a left tackle here for Denver. He's going up one-on-one against Garrett Bowles, who maybe hasn't had his best start to the year, but is a very good offensive lineman. So this is a tough matchup for Young. And watch what he's going to do. Right when this play begins, he kind of, looks like he almost got pushed towards the outside by an interior defensive lineman. So ends up in this situation, but he doesn't want to go with just an outside move. Partially because, Bowles right here has pretty good position if, Young tries to get further to the outside. But the advantage is, look at how close they are to Russell Wilson. So Young has another idea. Momentum is already taking them towards the right side of the screen, so use that. Get your left arm kind of on Bowles' right side of his body and push him towards the right side of the screen. As you see, he does that, gets that left arm over Bowles, and then Russell Wilson nearly threw an interception there. So, unfortunately for Young, wasn't able to get the positive stat there that maybe you would have liked, but still a good play. And again, at the end of the day, I just tend to evaluate, are you winning your one-on-one matchups, not necessarily what is the end result. A play like this is fascinating. So it looks like what's supposed to happen here is, I believe this is supposed to be just a quick pass to the tight end. The tight end blocks Young for a second, then runs out and runs a route, and Young then, he goes to chase after the quarterback. Once he does that, Wilson then just, flips it to the tight end. However, right when this play begins, you see that, for the most part, that's exactly how you want to do that if you are a tight end. But for Chase Young, he's, I think, doing a pretty good job of closing this gap quickly and staying in the way of a potential throw. On top of this, I think the help down the field is also helping out this play. So Russell Wilson doesn't feel great about this situation. Wilson is going to just, throw that one into the dirt. For a second, it looked like Young said something to Wilson. I don't think he actually did. Maybe he did. I don't know. But either way, again, he's just making an impact, making a positive impact. Sure, you could easily sit here and say, well, that play was kind of designed to get Chase Young in Russell Wilson's face by Denver. That's kind of what they were trying to do. Do you deserve that much credit? Well, I still say yes, because you're going to have that happen in a football game. There's going to be breaks that go your way. And as a defender, I think, just as much of your job is creating havoc, just as much of it is trying to take advantage when situations come up and you have opportunities to, be successful. It's, equal parts, in my opinion. And Chase Young definitely did a good job of, in my opinion, being successful. Now, I did think that we saw some moments where, it looked like Young for a second was looking good, but then kind of ended up things not looking so good. We're once again going to be going up one-on-one against Garrett Bowles here. This is going to be, it's actually a play action pass. That's what Denver is doing here. Watch how when it begins, you see Young get to the outside and, okay, on paper, you can understand why you want to do this. The issue for Young is if you're going to be able to do this, you ideally want to, not get pushed too far behind, right? Garrett Bowles at this point, he's going to try to put you behind the quarterback. So for Young, you want to not get pushed that far towards the right side of the screen. Instead, he does get pushed pretty far in that direction, and Wilson doesn't get outside the pocket here, but it did happen a few times in this game where, sometimes he was legitimately just winning. Chase Young was winning these one-on-one matchups, but then Bowles was just pushing him behind the quarterback, or Russell Wilson was doing a good job at getting outside the pocket, which, he still can do at this point in his career. So maybe some things to work on perhaps, but that's also part of Chase Young's game is he'll take some chances on inside moves. He'll try to take some chances on speed rush moves like this. Doesn't always work out. Sometimes it causes containment, but also sometimes it works out in a big way. Like you could argue this one is another example of it, but I actually think this one's a little bit different. So it's going to be 3rd down and 2 right here. Once again, one-on-one matchup with a left tackle in a pass blocking scenario. Because again, the Broncos pretty much leave Garrett Bowles one-on-one. That's basically what they do. As you see, when Wilson takes a snap, right here is where I want to pause it as, again, Bowles is doing a pretty good job, I would say, of pushing Young behind the quarterback. He's pushed Wilson back. But at the same time, I would also say that this did still kind of disrupt the play because Wilson felt like he had to step up. He felt like he couldn't just stay where he was at. So, obviously what you want is a sack. That's the ideal scenario. I guess the ideal scenario would be getting like a strip sack, fumble for a touchdown. But, ideally you want to be hitting the quarterback. But the next best thing is disrupting the quarterback, which Young did here. And then also when Wilson tries to get out of the pocket, Young dives forward and gets the sack right there. And it's kind of a funny play because it's like, on one hand, that's totally a cleanup sack, right? That's just Wilson trying to get outside the pocket. You happen to be the guy who brings him down. And usually I don't value those as highly as just beating the offensive lineman that you're lined up against. At the same time, though, it was in a way a cleanup sack because of the good work that I thought he did at the beginning part of that play. So I think you do deserve credit. And I would also say that a cleanup sack is still a good play. You still have to get down the field and make the tackle. It's not as impressive as just beating a tackle one-on-one, but it still is impressive in my opinion, and I thought that Chase Young had a good day. Like, I think he is a good player. Again, is he the generational edge rusher that maybe we thought he could be after year one? I don't think we've seen that necessarily since his rookie year, but we've still seen flashes. When he's been on the field, his advanced numbers have been very good, and they were very good in this football game. They weren't elite, but they were very good. And you know what? If Chase Young, instead of being an elite player, is instead just a very good player, you'll gladly take that if you're a Washington fan. You just hope that he stays healthy. To me, that's been the biggest issue with Young. It hasn't been his play ability because he's pretty consistently had good advanced stats throughout his career. It's just the playing ability, the playing time has been an issue, but he's also still just 24, so we'll see how his career goes from here. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Chase Young and what he was able to do in this game. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.